He said, I will begin to exalt you in the eyes of all Israel, so they may know that I am with you as I was with Moses. Tell the priests who carry the ark of the covenant, when you reach the edge of the Jordan's waters, go and stand what? In the river. He said, when you reach, tell the priests when they reach the edge of the Jordan. Now, you know Jordan was a dirty place, right? It was dark. Dark waters. He said, tell the priests when they reach the edge of it, to do what? Go and stand in the river. Once you reach the edge of it, just understand I'm on the edge. Now, this is faith in action. Look at my feet. Go stand in it. Now, I'm standing there, Ark of the Covenant on my shoulder, 1,000 yards behind me, all these folk. We just buried Moses 30 days ago. Watch this. Water hasn't gone anywhere. We're going over there. The first person who gets in it are the priests. So he calls the preachers, the priests, to stand in it. Stand in faith in the midst of the Jordan before it opens up. Which makes people behind you go, look, I don't see nothing happening. Come on now.
That's right.
Come on now. I don't see no way opening up. But he calls the priest to stand in faith. Because watch it, when you watch me stand in faith in the midst of something that hasn't opened up yet, you then are able to do the same thing. Remember Elijah and Elisha? Before Elisha was taken off to be with the Lord in the chariot of fire, his servant Elisha came behind him and he said, the same things you're going to be able to do. When his master said, if you see me when I'm caught up, and when he left, he came over to the water, the same water, and he said, now Lord, my master did this, and I need to know whether you're going to do this. He takes the same mantle and he smites the water, and the waters open up. Is that right? Watch this. Then somebody say, I can do it too. Watch this. Tell the priests who carry the ark of the covenant, when you reach the edge of the Jordan's waters, go and stand in the river. Joshua said to the Israelites, come here and listen to the words of the Lord. Now he calls them closer and says, come here and listen to the words of the Lord your God. This is how you will know that the living God is among you, and that he will certainly, without any doubt, drive out before you, right in your presence, the Canaanites, the Hittites, the Hivites, the Perizzites, the Girgashites, the Amorites, the Jebusites. That's a whole lot of ites. There's 7. Okay, so you have 7 different groups of enemies that are sitting in your promised land. Those are not 7 people. Those are 7 different groups. Legion, if you will, many of that one particular group. Another group that is sitting in your promise, say, y'all ain't coming up in here. Come on now, y'all ain't coming up in there. That's right. 7. 7 is the number of completion. They're completely saying to you, and us, y'all ain't getting in here. You're never going to get victory over this in your house. You ain't going to say that. You don't get victory in your mind over this. 7 things are standing there. 7 groups of enemies. Not one. What does the Bible say? When the house is clean and swept, and the devil finds that the house has been clean and swept, he goes out and gets 7 more. Is that what he says? Thank you, Lord. 7 more that are stronger than he, and brings them back to occupy. So you got 7 groups of armies coming against you. Now let me tell you something. This is how you know that God is going to do it. Because the devil does not put that kind of an attack and fight if there was not going to be an opportunity for you to get the victory. You don't spend time why did they put so many soldiers across the tomb of Jesus? Because they knew he might get up. Just in case. They said, make it as sure as you can. But just in case he get up, you want to make sure. And they still couldn't hold him. You got great opposition. You got great victory coming. The greater the opposition, the greater your victory is going to be. That is a sign that God's getting ready to do it. This is a word for somebody here today. The greater your opposition, whatever's fighting you the most, that is an area for opportunity. It's this. Verse 11, see, the ark of the covenant of the Lord of all the earth will go into the Jordan ahead of you. Now then choose 12 men from the tribes of Israel, one from each tribe, and as soon as the priests who carried the ark of the Lord of all the earth, set what? Set foot in the Jordan. Now, didn't he tell Joshua before, every place your foot treaded, I'll give it? As soon as the foot is set in the Jordan, its waters flowing downstream will what? Be cut off and stand in a heap. God said, I'm going to make the water stand up on the edge. Wait a minute. Seems like I saw that somewhere before. Didn't Moses leave Egypt with all the people? Stand at the brinks of the Red Sea? Fire behind them and keep back the enemy? And God caused all the waters to stand up on a heap? And they marched through on dry shod, King James Version said. Wait a minute, is this Moses' spiritual son, Joshua, who now doesn't go through the Red Sea because that was a miracle for them, but goes through the dirty Jordan, and as soon as his feet gets there, God says, this is what I'm going to do. The same thing, the same miracle, different ministry. See, everybody has to have their own experience. That's right. It was great for what my bishop did and what my forefathers did, but I got to have my own experience, and 9 times 10 it's going to be the same kind of a miracle, but it's going to be a little bit different. If somebody says God did it for them, He can do it for me. He can do it for me. Watch this. Verse 13. As soon as the priests who carry the ark of the Lord of all the earth, set foot in the Jordan, its waters flowing down, the stream will be cut off, and stand up in heat. So when the people broke camp to cross the Jordan, the priests carried the ark of the covenant and went ahead of them. Now the Jordan is at what? Flood stage all during harvest. Now here, I'm going to get ready to harvest our first fruits. Now here it is coming up on harvest time for our first fruits. Here comes the harvest time of gathering. The waters are at its worst. Now God, why would you choose to have us cross at the worst time of the year? He's got to make sure it's bad so that you don't think you got the victory because of something you did. All right. At the most worst, I mean, Christmas is coming. Come on, come on now, come on, don't get deep on me. Christmas is coming. It's a new year. Got this to do. Why would you choose now of all times to decide to bless us? 15. Now the Jordan is at flood stage all during harvest, yet as soon as the priests who carried the ark reached the Jordan and their feet touched the water's edge, the water from upstream did what? Stop. As soon as the feet of the priests touched the what? The water's edge. Watch this. Look at me. When you get your feet in the right place, it'll stop something upstream. What's coming down to take you out, if you get your feet in the right place, it'll stop it upstream. I said something right there. If you get your feet in the right place with God and what He's asking of you to do, to walk out you being the priest of your home, me being the priest of this house, and get things in order with God, when your feet touch the brink of the waters, things that are supposed to be coming and raging down, He will hold up. Soon as their feet touched the water's edge, the water from upstream stopped flowing. It piled up in a heap a great distance away at a town called Adam in the vicinity of Zarethan, while the water flowing down to the sea of Araba, the salt sea, was completely what? God shut it down. So the people crossed over opposite of what? The priests who carried the ark of the covenant of the Lord stood firm on dry ground in the middle of Jordan while what? All Israel passed by them. So wait a minute. The priest didn't go all the way over here. The priest stood right in the middle of the Jordan River and let everybody else pass them by. Y'all get across safely. Go. Watch this. Let me show you the significance of it. It is very important that the leadership, the priests, stay in the middle of it. because without them, he couldn't get over. He stood in the middle. The priests all stood there in the middle. Let everybody else go for it. So the priest doesn't just mean the pastor, it means leadership. Stood in the middle and let all the other saints get across. When we stand in leadership in the right place with God, people will have passage to go over. That's why it's important to have good leadership. Not just a good leader. Leadership. You don't usually have one man on a ship, maybe a boat. The priest who carried the ark of the covenant of the Lord stood firm on dry ground. We got to stand firm in what God says. We got a word from God. We got to stand firm in it. You can't be sliding back. Well, I'm not sure. And even if you feel yourself sliding back, hold up, I got a word. Watch this. Priest who carried the ark of the covenant of the Lord stood firm on dry ground in the middle of the Jordan while all Israel passed by until the whole nation had, the whole nation. Now you're not talking about 5 people, you're not talking about 500, you're not talking about 1,000 people, you're talking about millions of people, right? The whole nation had completely crossed. The nation had completed the crossing on what kind of ground? It's very important that we keep that in context. Dry ground. There was no moisture in the ground that they were crossing out of the river. Now, why is that important? Ask me so big deal about that. God blew the moisture out of the dirt. What happens if you walk through mud? It's not only is it messy, you can get stuck. You can slip. He said, I'm not interested and I don't want you slipping through this next move. I'm going to take away every excuse. I'm going to blow all the moisture out so you can take steps confidently. But outside, when it's raining and it's slippery, you know how you come out the house? You walk a little cautiously. He said, you ain't got to walk cautious through here because I'm blowing all the moisture out so you can walk through confidently with sure steps. I know I'm going over. Come on now. It's not a question of whether I'm going. I'm not sure what kind of maybe God might. Oh, look. No, ain't going to be none of that. I'm walking. Right. You have to have the confidence of God. And he does that by blowing the moisture. He said, tell him, I'm going to blow the moisture out of your circumstance. So you can walk confidently. We got some opposition in life. God's got great victory. We are not of those that draw back. Even you coming here into this earth out of your mother's womb was opposition. Right? Big old head baby, how you gonna come through the doors of life like that? You had opposition. But your mom persevered, she pushed you. Watch this, you ready? Jesus said to the disciples were on their way. He came to a village where a woman named Martha opened her home to him. Luke chapter 10, verse 38. And Jesus and his disciples were on their way, and he came to a village where a woman named Martha opened her home to him. Okay? She had a sister called Mary who sat at the Lord's feet. Now this is important, tying this into what we just read. She had a sister called Mary who sat at the Lord's feet, listening to what? But Martha was distracted, highlight that please, by all the preparations that had what? Had to be made. Now this is what happens. Sometimes we are distracted by preparation.